Another loan? Derek sneered, swirling his expensive scotch. How many times are you going to start a business before accepting you're not cut out for it? I sat quietly in our parents' luxurious living room, letting my brother's contempt wash over me. The same weekly family dinner, the same condescension. If only they knew that the loan I was discussing was actually a $2 billion acquisition deal I was financing for one of my companies. Derek's right, Rachel. Mother sighed, adjusting her tennis bracelet, a gift from my third shell company, though she didn't know it. It's time to be realistic. Your brother can always find you something in accounting at Harrison Industries. I bit back a smile. Harrison Industries, my brother's pride and joy, had been hemorrhaging market share for months. To companies I quietly controlled. Tomorrow their stock would drop another 15% when my latest acquisition was announced. I'm managing, I said softly, playing my familiar role as the family disappointment. Just need to sort out some business details. Business details? Derek scoffed. Your little craft supply company can hardly be called a business. How many employees do you even have now? 2. Technically, I had over 50,000 employees across my various enterprises. The craft supply store was just a convenient cover. A small, struggling business that kept my family from asking questions about my frequent travel and late-night calls. My phone buzzed. Sarah Martinez, my CFO, texting an update. Wong Manufacturing deal closed. We now control 60% of the supply chain. Harrison Industries stock will free fall when market opens. Actually, I said, standing up, I should get going. Business meeting. At this hour? Father looked up from his paper. What craft store has meetings at 8 p.m.? You'd be surprised, I replied, gathering my deliberately modest handbag, which contained contracts worth more than their house. Some of us have to work late. Derek snorted. Some of us work smart, not late. Speaking of which, did you hear about my latest acquisition? Bought out Wong Manufacturing for pennies on the dollar. Old man Wong practically begged me to take it off his hands. I paused at the door. Really? Wong Manufacturing? How interesting. What Derek didn't know was that old man Wong had begged, because my team had systematically acquired his suppliers, customers, and credit lines over the past year. The purchase price Derek was so proud of had been orchestrated by my analysts, setting up Harrison Industries for its biggest fall yet. You wouldn't understand the complexities, he waved dismissively. High-level corporate strategy, not craft store stuff. Probably not, I agreed mildly. Though I did read something about Harrison Industries' stock performance lately. Derek's smug expression flickered. Temporary market fluctuation. Nothing for you to worry about. My phone buzzed again. Press release ready for tomorrow. Harrison Industries won't know what hit them. Well, good luck with everything, I said, playing the supportive sister one last time. I'm sure it'll all work out exactly as it's supposed to. As I walked to my waiting car. Not the used Honda they thought I drove, but a custom Mercedes with darkened windows. I could hear Derek starting another story about his business genius. Tomorrow that story would have a very different ending. To the office, Ms. Chin? My driver asked as I settled into the leather interior. James. Time to finish what we started. I pulled out my tablet, reviewing the documents that would destroy my brother's company. Oh, and remind me to send flowers to the family dinner next week. I have a feeling they'll need some cheering up. The next morning, I watched from my penthouse office as the financial world imploded around my brother's precious Harrison Industries. The stock had dropped 30% in the first hour of trading, worse than even my analysts had predicted. Miss Chin. My assistant Emma appeared at the door. Your brother has called 8 times in the last 20 minutes. Your mother texted to ask if you're still good with numbers because they might need help understanding some financial documents. I imagine they might, I murmured, watching CNBC dissect Harrison Industries collapse. The ticker beneath showed my various companies' stocks soaring as they absorbed the market share. Chin Global Industries acquires Wong Manufacturing supply chain, the headlines screamed. Harrison Industries cut off from major suppliers. My phone buzzed again. Derek. This time I answered. Rachel. His voice had lost all traces of last night's condescension. Have you seen the news? About Wong Manufacturing. The craft store doesn't get much business news, I replied innocently. Is something wrong? Wrong? It's a nightmare. Some company called Chin Global has bought every major supplier in our industry. They're canceling our contracts, demanding impossible terms. Nobody's ever even heard of them before. I smiled, remembering all the times Derek had lectured me about business strategy. That sounds difficult. Have you tried networking? You always said it's about who you know. Rachel, please. He was practically begging now. You're good with research. Could you look into Chin Global for me? Find out who runs it. Of course, I said, spinning in my chair to face the wall of windows. Though it might be faster to just ask me directly. Silence. Then, what? Chin Global Industries. Founded 5 years ago. Currently controlling roughly 60% of your industry's supply chain, along with 40% of distribution channels and a significant portion of your client base. I paused. Or should I say my client base? The silence stretched longer. In the background, I could hear CNBC continuing its analysis of Harrison Industries' free fall. This is a joke, he finally managed. You run a craft store. I own a craft store, I corrected. I run a global industrial empire. The craft store just kept you from asking too many questions about where I was really spending my time. Impossible, he breathed. You're Rachel. The family burden. The one who always needs help. The one who just acquired your entire supply chain, I finished. Along with your biggest clients, your distribution network, and... I checked my watch. As of 3 minutes ago, a controlling interest in Harrison Industries itself. The sound he made was somewhere between a gasp and a choke. Your trading suspension request was denied, by the way, I added. I may have mentioned my concerns about insider trading to the SEC. Those Wong manufacturing negotiations weren't quite as clean as you claimed. You've been planning this? For years, I confirmed. Every time you mocked my little business, I was buying another piece of your industry. Every time you bragged about your connections, I was building better ones. Every time you offered me an entry-level job, I was positioning myself to take over your company. My assistant appeared again, holding up a tablet showing my parents trying to reach me on another line. Now, if you'll excuse me, I said, I believe our parents are calling. Probably wondering how their disappointing daughter ended up owning their son's company. When Derek? The craft store is having a sale on tissue paper. You might want to stock up. I hear crying is therapeutic during bankruptcy. The Harrison Industries boardroom was a study in controlled chaos. Derek sat slumped in what used to be his chair, while our parents occupied the visitors section for the first time in their lives. The board members, what was left of them, kept shooting nervous glances at the door. At precisely 10 a.m. I walked in. Not in the modest clothes they were used to seeing, but in a perfectly tailored Chanel suit that cost more than Derek's car. Good morning, I said pleasantly, taking the CEO's seat. Shall we begin? Rachel, Mother started, her social butterfly confidence completely shattered. Surely we can discuss this as a family. We are, I replied, opening my laptop. Along with the Chin Global Industries board members who should be joining us. Now. The doors opened again, revealing my actual team. Sarah Martinez, my CFO, who had endured years of Derek hitting on her at industry events while she secretly reported to me. James Wong Jr., who had played the role of the failing family heir, while helping me acquire his father's company, and a dozen other executives who had hidden their connections to me while infiltrating Harrison Industries. You all work for Rachel? Derek stammered. For Miss Chin, Sarah corrected coldly. CEO of Chin Global Industries and, as of this morning, Harrison Industries majority shareholder. This is ridiculous, Father burst out. Rachel can barely run a craft store. She's been borrowing money for years. Actually, I smiled, pulling up some documents on the room's screens. I've been lending money. Through various shell companies. Including, ironically, to Harrison Industries last quarter. That emergency loan you were so proud of securing, Derek? That was mine. The blood drained from my brother's face as he recognized the loan documents. The ones he'd bragged about negotiating at last night's dinner. Now, I continued, let's discuss the restructuring. Harrison Industries will be absorbed into Chin Global's manufacturing division. Most operations will be consolidated, unfortunately requiring significant leadership changes. You're firing me? Derek's voice cracked. Offering you a chance to earn your position, I corrected. Just like you always said I should. There's an opening in our Singapore office. Entry level, of course. You'll need to learn the business from the ground up. Singapore. Mother gasped. But Derek's wedding is in 3 months. He's marrying the governor's daughter. Was marrying, Sarah interjected, pulling up more documents. The governor's family just called. They're concerned about Harrison Industries' stock performance and Derek's involvement in certain questionable transactions. I watched my brother's perfect life crumble in real time. The company, the connections, the prestigious marriage, all built on an arrogance that had finally caught up with him. The Wong manufacturing deal, he said suddenly. You set me up. You set yourself up, James Wong Jr. replied. We just provided the opportunity for you to make exactly the mistakes we predicted you would. Speaking of predictions, I added, checking my phone, Harrison Industries stock has dropped another 20% since this meeting began. Your ownership stake is now worth approximately 1/10 of what it was at last night's family dinner. When you were explaining high-level corporate strategy to me. Mother was quietly crying now, her tennis bracelet catching the light. Rachel, please. He's your brother. Yes, he is. Which is why I'm offering him any position at all. I turned to Derek. The Singapore offer stands for 24 hours. After that, you can try explaining to the SEC why you didn't disclose certain conflicts of interest in the Wong acquisition. The next family dinner was held in my penthouse dining room, my real one, not the modest apartment they'd visited before. The Manhattan skyline sparkled through floor-to-ceiling windows, each glittering building a reminder of how much of the city I secretly controlled. Derek sat quietly in his off-the-rack suit, a far cry from his usual bespoke attire. 2 weeks in the Singapore office had stripped away much of his arrogance, along with his designer wardrobe allowance. Mother kept twisting her tennis bracelet, still processing that her struggling daughter had been anonymously funding her lifestyle for years. The salmon is excellent, Father offered awkwardly, trying to break the tension. Your chef is very talented. She should be, I replied mildly. She used to work at the Magnus. I paused. Before I bought the restaurant chain. Derek's fork clattered against his plate. The Magnus had been his favorite spot for power lunches, until it mysteriously stopped accepting his reservations last month. About the Magnus, he started, then stopped as Sarah Martinez walked in. My CFO had become a regular at these family dinners, enjoying the delicious irony almost as much as I did. The quarterly reports, Ms. Chen, she said, deliberately using my business name. And the governor's daughter returned the engagement ring, along with a rather strongly worded letter about family integrity. Mother dabbed at her eyes with a silk napkin. Did you have to tell them everything about Derek's situation? I didn't tell them anything, I corrected. Their financial advisors simply explained what happened to Harrison Industries. Apparently, they have concerns about associating with failed executives who don't perform due diligence. Failed. Derek's old anger flared briefly. I built that company into the perfect acquisition target, I agreed. Your aggressive expansion, your alienation of key suppliers, your reliance on personal connections over actual strategy. You couldn't have made it easier for me to take over if you'd tried. Sarah smiled slightly, remembering all the family dinners where she'd played the role of my assistant while Derek tried to impress her with his business acumen. The Singapore office reports that your brother is struggling with basic supply chain concepts. Should we extend his training period? You're enjoying this, Mother accused, finally finding her voice. Humiliating your own brother. Like you all enjoyed humiliating me? I set down my fork. Every family dinner, every holiday, every gathering where you dismissed my work as cute, or simple, or another failed attempt? While I was building an empire, you were too busy celebrating Derek's mediocrity to notice. Father cleared his throat. We only wanted what was best for you. No, I cut him off. You wanted what was easiest for you. A conventional daughter who would take the safe corporate job, marry the right person, fit into your social circle. Instead, you got me, the CEO of a global corporation that now owns your son's company. The silence that followed was broken only by the soft sounds of the city below. Derek stared at his plate, no doubt remembering all the times he'd lectured me about business over similar dinners. The Singapore position, he finally said. How long? Until you earn something better, I replied. Like you always told me, Success has to be earned, right? No more trading on the family name or connections. From now on, your performance is all that matters. And us? Mother asked quietly. What happens to us? I smiled, pressing a button that opened hidden panels in the dining room walls. Behind them hung dozens of framed magazine covers and articles. The real story of my rise to power, carefully hidden from my family all these years. You get to watch your daughter run the empire she built while you weren't paying attention, I said. You get to explain to your friends that the mysterious CEO they've been reading about, the one buying up half of Manhattan, is the same daughter you called a burden. Sarah handed me a tablet showing Chin Global's latest stock prices. Oh, and Derek, your remaining Harrison Industries shares are being transferred to our charitable foundation. Consider it your first lesson in corporate responsibility. The foundation that funds. Mother's eyes widened as she finally made the connection. Every major charity event you've attended in the past 3 years, I confirmed. Those auctions where you bought art to impress your friends? I owned the galleries, the exclusive fundraisers. I owned the venues, the luxury raffles. All prizes came from my companies. I stood smoothing my dress. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a board meeting. Real one, not craft store business. I smiled at Derek. Some of us still work late, not smart. As my family filed out looking shell-shocked, Sarah lingered behind. Was it worth the wait? I looked out at my city, my empire, built while they underestimated and dismissed me. Every second. Though do make sure Derek's Singapore apartment has a good view. He should see what real success looks like while he's learning how to earn it. Sometimes, I reflected, the best revenge isn't in the big revelations, but in the small daily reminders. Like watching your brother try to rebuild his career in a company you own, one humble lesson at a time.